Hi, I'm Brian Noble, CEO of Family Policy Institute of Washington.
And I'm Brad Payne, president of FPIW Action.
Couple of disclaimers before we get started today. This video is not an endorsement of a candidate, nor is it the candidate's endorsement of FPIW or FPIW Action. It's simply a public service to meet and greet the candidates. Also, this will be recorded and on several different platforms without any gotcha moments throughout the interview. Welcome to the program.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. Well, Bruce, I get the first question. It's kind of a three-parter. One is if you would let everybody know your name and the position you're running for, and then if you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your family.
Well, I'm Bruce Guthrie. I'm running for 21st Legislative District. That's basically Edmonds, Linwood, Mukilteo, some southern parts of Everett. I'm a 61-year-old retired sales and marketing executive with a second career in teaching. I'm a math and science teacher. I have a master's in teaching degree from Seattle University. I got back in 2008. And so I have a lot of experience teaching. And of course, teaching is one of the most important things that the state is currently doing. But I have three kids. We've lived in this district since 2008, and I've lived in Washington since 1994.
Excellent. And what is motivating you to run for office?
There's a famous quote from Thomas Jefferson, which is that the natural tendency for things is for government to gain power and for liberty, individual liberty, to retreat, to be eroded away. And I want to run to defend our equal individual rights to life, liberty, and property from the expansion of the state. And by the state, I mean the government at all levels.
Very good. All right. Well, my next question is kind of another two-parter. One is legislatively speaking, are there one or two issues that you have great concern about? I realize there could be many in this state, but one or two. And then second part of that question is, what do you hope to accomplish if you're elected into office?
So I have four items, and perhaps it'll answer both of those questions altogether. But first, I want to cut taxes and spending. Most of the incumbents in Olympia want to implement a state income tax, even though they won't admit it. I promise to vote against any such attempts. I want to cut sales taxes and property taxes and cut state spending by even more so that we may fully fund the rainy day fund. That's point one. Point two is school choice. About half of the other US states have school choice, and Washington needs it too. Competition and choice improve product and service quality and keeps prices in check for retail customers, and it works in education as well. Private schools prove that, and homeschooling is even better in terms of both educational outcomes and reduced costs. Vouchers and charter schools are great steps in the right direction. Parents should more easily be able to move their children to any public school that has space. That's my point number two. Point three is transportation. Instead of spending more money on trains, which people actually hope other people will use, and spending more money on buses, which up in Linwood run around mostly empty all the time, and bike lanes, which we wish people would use, but they just don't. Washington needs another lane on I-5 and on I-405 as well. That's my point number three, because that's what people are actually wanting. That's why we have about the 10th worst traffic congestion situation in the country. My fourth issue is term limits. Power corrupts. The longer a person wields such excessive power as we've allowed our legislators to seize, the more likely they will become corrupt. 3 or 4 terms is plenty in the legislature. And I will work with like-minded representatives of any party in order to enact these goals.
Excellent. Our fourth and final question is, we provided you with our 18 policy or issues that we fight for at FPIW Action and FPIW, things like individual freedom, environmental stewardship, property rights. Any of those other 18 that you would like to comment on? You hit 4 of ours, so any other ones that you'd like to comment on?
Well, I read through those, and in some places, like in your policy booklet, I think there were 21. In some places, there were 18. Yep. Maybe I just miscounted. But I read through and just was loving every single one. And I think that you'll see me as probably 95% aligned with your values. The only 2 were at the end, and I hesitate to mention them because you're never going to agree with everybody and everything. So the two issues that that got a little sticky with me, where you'll only give me 50% credit, I would say, is on the abortion issue and on the gay marriage issue. On abortion, we live in, unfortunately, a blue state where abortion is legal up until the last moment, and of course that's terrible. If you come out saying that as a candidate in this blue state, that we ought to immediately go to abortion being illegal from the day of conception, that's outside the Overton window. So I think we need an incremental approach, and wouldn't it be great if we could first get to abortion being only legal within the first 14 weeks? So that's my campaign position. Once we enact that, if we can ever enact that in Washington State, we can talk about where to go from there. So my next issue is with gay marriage. Because I'm a libertarian, I want to maximize individual liberty. And I am concerned about the government's getting into marriage. I would like to see a privatization of marriage. Marriage should be something where each individual church gets to decide what is a marriage within their community. Some churches will say, I'm sorry, we're just not going to have gay marriage. Other churches will marry gays and lesbians all day long. But you have a right. If your church doesn't agree with that value, you have a right to not marry people who are gay within your church. And when the state comes in and tries to say, we have an interest in manipulating social policy via the law, I think the government has overstepped its proper authority. So there, I think it's a gay and lesbian person's right to liberty to join into a promise of sexual fidelity. And don't we want to encourage them to have less promiscuity? It seems to me that's going to be good for them. But anyway, I defend their right to marry each other. But what I would do is privatize marriage so that it's not a state affirmation of gay marriage. Then it's a private issue, and like I said, there'll be churches that will have gay married people within their communities, and some that won't. And I defend those individual rights. So other than those two minor quibbles, your 18 or 19 or 20 or 21 points, I love. I want you to think of me as 95% in agreement with your policies.
Well, if Ronald Reagan said that we can be 80% like-minded, we're not 20% traitors. So there we go. We'll move forward with our differences and respect those.
I love it. Thank you.
Brad?
All right. Well, Bruce, just thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I know you have to be busy as a father and businessman, then trying to run a campaign as well. But thank you for taking the time to come on. Thank you for your thoughtful answers. We appreciate that. And we wish you luck in the next few weeks as you wrap up the campaign before the primary. And thank you again for being on.
Marvelous. Thanks for your time today.
All right.
Please vote for me, Bruce Guthrie.
All right. And I'm Brad Payne with FPIW Action.
And I'm Brian Noble with FPIW. No part of this video should be taken as an endorsement of the candidate, nor the candidate's endorsement of FPIW or FPIW Action. We simply are asking our people who watch to love their neighbor through faithfully stewarding the public square. And if you're one of our defenders, go out there and defend and advance biblical values. God bless.